Last time around with our Helsingborg side, we finished 6th place in the league, and I thought it's fine. Yes, it's a backward step. We've obviously been finishing a lot higher than that in the last couple of seasons. I didn't realise how much of a backward step it was until the board said, come in for a little chat. And we have promised twice, apparently, to Kjell Jakobsen, who is our chairman, we have promised we are going to get 8 points in our next 5 matches. Now, what I don't know, do these 3 count? I feel like they don't. I feel like we have these 5 matches here to get 8 points, otherwise we might get sacked. However, there is a weird silver lining, which I don't know whether it's going to affect anything or not. And that is that the board is currently being taken over. And that's because I believe it's an elected board, and every year or every couple of years or some years, basically the board kind of refreshes itself, which means Kjell Jakobsen is not going to be the chairman soon. So, does that mean it doesn't matter? The worrying thing that I have in the back of my mind is the new board might come in and just get rid of me. Because they might go, you know what, last year was just disastrous, we're just going to get rid of you completely, which will certainly change the way that this Building a Nation save has worked and will work going forward. And before I jump in to what's happened at the start of Season 7, I do want to say I'm going to spend only 10 seasons at Helsingborg, or 10 seasons maximum. After Season 10, I will leave the club. Because my plan, and this is what I kind of realised in my last Building a Nation save that I did, is basically I made my team really good and nobody else good. So what I want to do is make Helsingborg pretty good after 10 seasons, move on, take over somebody else. Ideally, somebody in the Swedish Premier Division, but not somebody at the top end of the table. So maybe take over, I don't know, a Sirius or a Varnamo or someone like that, and then I can kind of try and claw those up, or an Östersund. We can do a Graham Potter. Anyway, at the start of Season 7, transfers have already taken place. Lots of players have left on free transfers. Nord is one of them. He's gone to HJK. Leo Martin has signed for AIK. Nick Poll has gone to Sirius. Rasmus Larsson has also gone to AIK. Gustav Stenberg has gone to Hammarby and is in their first team, which is good. Emir Kovac has gone to Halmstad. And Joseph Walker has also gone to Hammarby and is also in their first team. Joining the club is Danish goalkeeper Nikolaj Pedersen, who I realise is getting paid too much money. He's on £2,600 a week, which if we look at our squad, he's our 7th highest paid player, just behind our number 1 goalkeeper. He's not even our number 2 or number 3 goalkeeper, I don't think. It's going to be Jolson, then Mustafa, and then possibly Gonzalez Martinez. So Pedersen might be our 4th choice goalkeeper, getting paid far too much money a week. Anyway, with the transfer window still open, we've got £14 million to spend, which is a lot of money. We've got over £120,000 a week that we could spend as well on wages if we want to do it. I feel like that's a terrible use of money, but you never know. Things have happened in the past where I've done stupid stuff. So let's find out. Let's jump forward to see how well we get on. We do, obviously, if we take a look at the competitions, we are in the Swedish Premier Division. We are in the Europa Conference League. We have qualified for the knockout rounds. We're obviously also in the Swedish Cup. We're going to jump forward, and I believe we're going to jump forward to the other side of the knockout rounds. So we might get knocked out before we come back. We also might get knocked out the Swedish Cup as well. We will see. Let's start things off then in the Swedish Cup. We have been knocked out of that in the quarterfinals, losing 4-3 against Djurgårdens, which is kind of annoying because I like to win this. Obviously, we did win it last season. I would have liked to win it this season. In fact, we kind of needed to win it this season because I think it means we're not in Europe next year. And by next year, I mean July onwards from this season. We do have another option though, and it's a bit ridiculous. We could win the Europa Conference League. We're into the quarterfinals. We have Adana DS from Turkey. We, in the round of 16, drew SCR Altash from Austria. We did beat them eventually 6-3 on aggregate, but we did obviously lose one of those matches. A 3-1 defeat, but a 5-0 win in the first leg. Iram scoring 4 of those goals. In fact, Iram I force played the start of the season, and yeah, scoring those 4 goals, very, very helpful. Certainly helped him a lot. Maybe he might be playing a lot more football this year. A couple of transfers leaving the club. Wilhelm Loper has left after a very good few seasons early on in the save. He's moved over to Östersund for basically a packet of crisps at £6,500. And Philip Lundberg has also left for maybe a packet of crisps and possibly a Scotch egg. He has gone over to Albright. 6 players have joined the club. First of all, Osman Montesino is a 19-year-old Colombian winger signed on a free transfer. Basically, scouts went sign him and I went, sure, why not? He's costing us nothing. So he's come in, he's sitting in the reserves and probably going to get loaned out when we get the chance to do so. For £165,000, a similar situation here is João, the 18-year-old Brazilian winger and striker. He's come in from CRI, whoever they are. He's going to sit maybe in the first team. I brought him in because I think he could be playing for us. Not convinced that he will, but he's in the first team. If someone wants to loan him, they can probably have him. For £200,000, the first player of our two that we have signed from MK Dons. For some reason, we've signed players from AFC Wimbledon and MK Dons in this save. Don't know why. Richie Brennan, 20-year-old English defender, £200,000 for a pretty good option. Play in the middle. He can play as a right-back, play as a defence midfielder as well if we need him. Next up is the first of three players who've cost over £1 million. Brian Murillo Asprilla, 20-year-old Colombian winger and striker, signed from Deportivo Cali. One for the future, but obviously, hopefully, he can be one for now as well. Naturally a striker. Not convinced that's where I want to be playing him. He has cost £1 million, but that is all he's cost. For £1.3 million, we've actually stolen somebody from Kalmar, which I feel bad for doing, but also I wanted a good striker, and Abdoulaye Mane is that man. 23-year-old Gambian international, £1.3 million, scored 14 goals last season in a Kalmar side that was relegated. So he can score goals in this league, and I'm hoping he's going to do so. He's already scored 5 goals for us in the Swedish Cup. And the final player to join is Timmy Omugbihin. Omugbihin? Maybe. Could be his name. 21-year-old English goalkeeper signed from MK Dons. Played 98 times for them over the last couple of seasons. And we brought him in for £1.5 million. You probably noticed he's on £8,250 a week and he's a star player. He's not going to be a star player. I've brought this guy in to hopefully sell with a decent sell on. And I'm hoping he's not going to be around for too much longer. That sounds utterly ridiculous to say, but when you compare him with Jollison, who is our number one goalkeeper, I think Jollison's better as a goalkeeper. Yes, Timmy is kind of better mentally. He's got some better mental numbers, definitely better physically, but Jollison is Swedish and Timmy is English, and we're not trying to build England up. That's not the only transfer business we have done, by the way. We've also loaned out a whole load of players. Everyone has gone to various clubs in Sweden. All of them obviously loan deals. The only one that's actually getting us a little bit of money is Nelson Gonzalez Martinez, because basically we don't need 5 goalkeepers in our first team. So Martinez has gone out on loan to Kalmar FF. I kind of did that as part of the Abdoulaye Mane deal, but also not at all. I was buying Mane when this one went through and went, you know what? Yeah, you can have him. They could have had him with no wages, but you know, he's gone there, they're paying some money. Antonio Mbar as well, another player who needs to get some first team football, otherwise he's not going to get better. I don't think he'll ever get better actually. He's one of those ones that came through AD Huracan, but he's just not improving, is he? Just want to point out as well, yes, the takeover has happened. We do have a new board. We do still need to get 8 points in our next 5 matches. So we're going to go on holiday until the midpoints of the season where the transfer window reopens, and I'm going to assume we're still in charge. Otherwise, we're on the hunt for a new club. Good news, on the 7th of July, we are still in charge of Helsingborg, so we did manage to keep our job. How close was it? We shouldn't have kept our... Oh my word. So we lost the first 2, and then we won the next 3, so we did get 9 points out of the 8 that we needed. That was ridiculously close. We made that difficult because Sundsvall are a team that we should have beaten. Gothenburg, sure, I can understand that. Varnamo, yes. Sirius, yes. Jagans is a tough match. And the fact that we managed to pick up the 3 points there is very good. We're obviously now 5th place in the league, 12 points on the board. Stephen McAllister has been getting a lot of goals. That is good to see. And that is because, I didn't show you this, he is starting. We've got 3 players in the starting 11. And one of them is a name you've probably never seen before. We've got McAllister. We've just had a quick look at him, the Northern Irish international on that right-hand side. We have Iram, the 20-year-old Spanish attacking midfielder who's spent the season out on loan at Karlstad Football last season. This season, I'm hoping to get a lot more game time in him and hopefully see some improvements, see some numbers going upwards. And then we have Barchen. Johan Barchen is a 17-year-old who's come through our youth intake. And yes, he isn't very good, but there is a very sensible and logical reason why he is playing. And that is because one of the reasons why I nearly got sacked is because I wasn't playing any youth players who came through our youth team. So, Barchen's going to play. He's played 11 so far. He's even scored a goal. He's rubbish, but he's literally the best choice we have. Anyway, the transfer window has opened across Europe and obviously has only just opened in Sweden. We have already sold William Milanovic. The 27-year-old Serbian has gone to TSC in his native Serbia for £8,750. Wasn't really playing. Probably could have got more money, but I just didn't need him in the club anymore. And so far, that is all we have done. Financially, we've got £9.8 million to spend, so we've still got a lot of cash in the bank if we want to spend it. And I feel like we might do so When it comes to the league, actually the Champions League or Europa Conference League, we did get knocked out by Adana. You probably spotted that. We did draw, which is good for coefficients, but we also did lose. Speaking of coefficients, where have we finished then last season? We finished on a 49.775, which keeps us in 11th place. We're losing a 6.375 this coming season, but obviously we are not in Europe. So we cannot contribute to this. We have to hope some of the other sides in Sweden can do a half-decent job for us. A 49, I mean, it's a big gap. It's a big gap between 11th and 10th. And it means literally nothing, does it? In 11th place, we don't get a team straight into the Champions League. We don't get a team straight into the Europa League or even to the Europa League Conference. So I'd rather get a team direct in the Europa Conference League than I would in the Champions League. Because we'll lose week in, week out in the Champions League. We might win everything in the Europa Conference League. So 5th place in the league at roughly the halfway point. I mean, we're not technically there. We've still got 3 more games to play. We're going to jump forward now to the end of this transfer window to see what more business we've done. Like I said, we've got a lot of money to spend, nearly £10 million. I'm going to see what we can get. I'm going to see where we can try and improve this squad. Well, it happened almost immediately. Timmy's left. He's gone back to England, signing for West Ham. He's already playing in the Premier League. We bought him for 1.5, sold him for 3 million. I believe there's a 50% sell-on in there as well. So, sensible business. 5 players have joined the club in total. Michael Madsen is a Faroese midfielder, maybe winger, maybe striker, not quite sure. Joined on a free transfer after having his contract run down. He's gone out on loan immediately to Jonkopings at Södra to hopefully get some experience. For £1 million, we've signed Nigerian central defender Daniel Gabriel, who has come in from Enyimba. If you want to get good footballers from Nigeria, go to Enyimba. They're always one of the best teams to get some players from. £1 million might be a bit steep, but I think he's good. He's certainly going to be good in a few years' time. The next 3 players are interesting. Mateus Valla, first up, he's cost £2.4 million, which I believe might be a record for us, has come in from Viking, a defender and maybe defence midfielder, Norwegian international. He looks ridiculously good, and yes, we are paying some big money for some of these players now because we've got all the money, we're just not spending it. Valla is one of the first players, I think, to break the double figures or the technically 5-figure salaries. He's on £12,750 a week, which is a lot of money. Andre Horta is on even more money. The 32-year-old, former Portugal under-21s international, signing from Braga on a free transfer, is on nearly £18,000 a week. But I think he's better than Iram. Iram's not doing the business, okay? Horta is going to come in, play that attacking midfield role. Already in 6 appearances, he's got 3 goals and 1 assist. He's starting well. I like this. He's still only 32 as well. We've maybe got another season or so left of Andre Horta before we need to actively try and replace him. And last but not least is Christopher Renaud, a 19-year-old Belgian footballer who can play in midfield, left midfield, right wing, attacking midfield or striker. I think we might deploy him as a striker. He is joined from Lokeren Temse, might be what they're called, on a free transfer. He's on nearly 10 grand a week. His agent wanted 2.5. The reason why he's on nearly 10 grand a week is because Man United and Arsenal were also after him, and I went, I'm throwing money at you. I'm throwing money at you because I need you in my club. He's very good. He's come from a literal, amateur side. I don't know how he's playing for an amateur side. We brought him in. I think he could be possibly world class. I don't think we've got too many players who could be that, but I think Renaud could be world class. That is all of our transfer business. We've also got some more loan deals going on. So Montesino is going out on loan to Hammarby in the Premier Division, so getting some first-team football there, which is going to be very, very good for him. I don't think there's too much else to talk about. Robert Collins, a player that I want to get good. I don't think it's ever going to happen. So we've spent not a lot of money. We've still got £8 million to spend. 12 million still sat in the bank account. And we are also up to 3rd place in the table. 13 wins now, 1 draw, 7 defeats, 40 points on the board, 13 points behind Djurgårdens. I feel like Djurgårdens are going to win the league, but if we can finish 2nd, we will be having another little Champions League run. Hopefully, a Champions League run. Before we jump too much further, though, this is the squad we are locking in. Yes, we have removed our defender because he's been rubbish. Let's find him. What was his name? Is he even in the first team? Did I loan him out? He might have actually got loaned out, you know. I genuinely can't find this man's name. He's a defender. Hold on, we need to find who it was. I feel it's not Richie Brennan. It's Johan Barchen. There you go. He played a total of 13 games, scoring 1 goal. He was all right. He's getting better. He is loan listed. He's got some teams interested on loaning him. Obviously, the window's now closed, so he's not going to go anywhere. We are sticking, that's the word, sticking with McAllister on that right-hand side. 10 assists, 11 goals, and we're going to play Renard up front Even though he only has 11 finishing, I feel like that's a better use of his abilities rather than on that right-hand side, because otherwise, everywhere else, we don't play that position. So it's a striker or a right winger, and I think striker might be where we want to play him. And that's it. Everyone else can obviously get picked for wherever they want to play. If we do this very quickly, I've not seen this, best 11, they do not put Ronaldo up front, they put him on the right wing, they put Mana playing as that striker. Horta does get into that starting 11 as well. Valor and Matson in defence, Usman and Castro on the fullback positions, Ackerman and Commentale in the middle. Commentale, I'm surprised, still here. I mean, it's only a matter of time before he leaves. I just want to have a look at my salaries as well. So, yeah, Horta, Brennan, Valor and Kastrup now all breaking the 5-figure salaries. 17,750 for Horta. It's a lot of money, but I think he's probably one of our best players. Right, looking at the league table then, 21 games have been played, third in the league. Let's jump towards the end of the season, see how well things have gone on. We'll also take a very quick look at our youth intake, which I have a feeling isn't going to be very good. Well, would you look at that? We have finished second place in the table, 1 point behind Jagardens. What happened? Did they just not win any games in the latter half of the season? They genuinely didn't. They won once. They beat Gifsonsville 7-1. Lost to Hammarby, drew with Gothenburg, lost as well against Varnamo. Whereas we literally just won everything, didn't we? We won every single match bar the AIK game at the end of the season. If we won that match, we would have been champions. And we haven't been champions yet. We literally have not won the league. We've been second 3 times. 4 times now, technically, with this season. But we've not won the league since 2011. We could have won it. We could have won it if we just won that last match. If we beat AIK, we would have been champions. So on the 12th of November, let's quickly take a look at our youth intake. I mean, we're going to take a look at one man, and that is Henrik Bergman. And I think he's good. The frustrating thing about Bergman is he's a right back. And if we do a comparison with our current right back, he's just miles better. He's just so much better. Rudi Usman, the Indonesian international, is just so much better than Bergman. Bergman's not going to get the chance to play unless Rudi Usman leaves, which is a possibility because he's good. But I don't think he's going to leave anytime soon. We've probably got another couple of years of Usman before anyone picks him up. Everyone else kind of looks a bit like this, like Mikael Haglund. Apparently there's some potential there, not quite sure. Egholm, maybe, not convinced. Nordstrom, not convinced. Liverstam, not convinced. Uklu might be his name. And Vikland, none of them. It's basically Bergman. Bergman's the only good one. So just before we round out this season then, I want to have a quick look at the squad. So our number 1 goalkeeper is Kalle Olsen, who he's still pretty good, but he is starting to get on. Our number 2, I would say, is Omar Mustafa. And he's probably not too far away from usurping Jollesen, which is good. I'm happy with that. We've just seen Bergman. We've just seen Usman. We know those are our kind of 2 right-back options. We've got Buzani. He's rubbish now, isn't he? He came in a few years ago and he was good. Central defenders. We'll come back to those. So we've got Kastrup as our number 1 left-back. He's good. We've got Bengston. He's all right. He is transfer listed. I want to get rid of him. I think, in fact, he's got a year left on his contract, so he's sticking around. Central defenders, we are a little bit overloaded, but we've got Dennis Ali, good, Swedish, like it. Johan Mattsson, good and Swedish, I like it. We've also got Skellen, who's good and Scandinavian, but, I mean, is he good? Maybe he's not good. I thought he was good. Richie Brennan, obviously new signing, he's played 10 times. He's not happy. He wants to be playing first team football. Gutierrez as well, he's getting good. I've noticed with Gutierrez, and in fact quite a lot of these players, they're almost eligible to be Swedish. So maybe in a year's time, we might have a whole bunch of Swedish Spaniards, which will be quite interesting. Daniel Gabriel as well, obviously we signed at the start of the season. Defensive midfield, Ackerman. I like Ackerman. Ackerman's a good player. Someone said in the comments that Ackerman does the job for them, and I'm very proud that he does the job for me as well. Charlie Nilden, Swedish, like it. 13 starts, 12 off the bench as well this season. And Young, good. Sig Bjornsson needs some time to develop. Fair enough. Commentale we've had a look at earlier. He's still good. Commentale's a good footballer. Valor, Norwegian. I'm training him up to be a defence midfielder because I feel like we've got too many centre-backs and he could do a better job in that defence midfield position, which it's fine. We've got wingers of McAllister and Tomas Kovic, I don't think he's the one, is he? He's not the one. We've got Horta, who he's still good. I'm happy with Horta. We've got Kim Lundberg, who's... He looks good, but he also doesn't. He's got great finishing, great technique, great flair, and he's good with the ball at his feet, and that's about it. Iram as well, who played a fair amount at the start of the season, but kind of got dropped because he basically didn't score any goals. 12 starts, just 3 assists for Iram. Who else have we got? Oliver Phil on the left-hand side looks good, but is he a winger? Is that really what he's good at? Zhao as well. We know we signed him at the start of the season. We've got Mana up front. He's good. Unfortunately for him, Reynald is better. Jack Jones, the former Brentford player, the Welsh under-21 international with a lot of goals actually for the under-21s. He needs some game time somewhere. Aspria played 5 off the bench. He's got plenty of time. And then Reynald, we know as our leading striker. How many goals did he get? If it gets rid of this thing, we'll see. He got 9 goals in 12 starts. That's good, considering he's not a natural striker. Phil got 18. McAllister got 14. Reynald got 11 in all competitions. Horter as well gets 10. Mana gets 8. Lundberg gets 7. We've done very well. I think we've started to build a bit more of a better team. I think last year I said that we need to do a bit more building of this squad, building this team. I think we've done that with players like your Reynolds, your Horters, your Manas as well. I think they kind of add a little bit more depth, a little bit more bite up front in those attacking positions. Defensively as well, Usman's good. He was a recent addition to the side. We've also brought in some very good central midfielders in Valor, or centre-backs if you really want to say that. So I think we've strengthened our side. Next year, we've still got £8 million to spend, and we will be going on a Champions League run, maybe, if we kind of... We'll see how things go. We do need to go through qualifying rounds. I don't want to get in the Champions League, because we get battered week in, week out, but financially will help us out a lot. So Season 7 ends, and we finish second in the table. We go again, and I just want to win the league before we leave Helsingborg. If we can win the league in Season 8, 9 or 10, that'll do. That's good improvements, and then after Season 10, we will resign from Helsingborg, and we'll look for a new job over the end of that season, and see where we return.